Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Square Circle Podcast. I am your host, Marie Shadows, and it has been a long time, couple days, since I have done a very live official podcast episode right here on Twitch. That's right, you are watching me live on twitch.tv/Marie_Shadows. For everyone listening to on the audio podcast side, so anchor.fm/Square Circle Podcast, I will always do my best to try to narrate and describe everything as best as I can. But then again, you can watch this right here on twitch.tv, or you could definitely use Spotify video because Spotify has the ability to put this up as a video format. So it's up to you. I do highly thank everybody for being patient with me. I have been sick for the past couple of days, but I am back feeling super better. Still, my energy is not there yet, but it's a work in progress. But today we're going to be talking about all the stuff that happened over the past couple of days, which I think needs to be addressed because it's very hateful, very, very hateful. And we're definitely going to be diving into a little bit of the AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door pay-per-view and why I don't like it. So I am glad that you guys are here with me. Again, make sure to tell a friend, tell them to tune in. And hear me out when it comes to my wrestling views rather than staying in your own bubble. The more that you stay in your own bubble, the more you won't be able to grow and nurture and, think for yourself. You rather stay in the opinions of others or in the feelings of others, and that doesn't get you anywhere. But I am going to read this. Aussie Lucian is completely correct when it comes to this AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door, I guess, mindset partnership. But Aussie Lucian definitely says that AEW X Impact relationship is a great example of AEW's mindset. Yes. Now, keep that in mind in the back of your minds before we get into that, because the graphic that I have up was something that I was happy about, cherished about, where I had the opportunity to interview Jack Claffey, who was Jack Gallagher, was in WWE and stuff like that, and now he's into bare knuckle fighting. He just signed a deal with bare knuckle fighting. So I got approached to interview him, and I was like, sure, I'm down, why not? Like, I'll interview him. Awesome. And then all of a sudden, the interview never really came, and I was more worried about him and his camp more than getting upset. And so basically, I reached out to the camp. I haven't heard anything back yet. But what I really want to address is the fact that because I had earlier put up, I don't remember how the effect happened. Maybe I put this up first and then later I put out that tweet about AEW, which you guys really don't like because, you guys can't be bothered to, think outside your comfort zone for AEW fans. Like the really fanatic hardcore fans that will accept anything. So the backlash I got from that tweet landed onto this graphic where people came into my mentions and was like, oh, you're proud of interviewing a rapist and rapist this and rapist that and throwing around the word rapist. And I'm here like, whoa, first of all, he owned up to it. Second of all, it's an opportunity. It's an interview that I would like to do, and I decided to go forth with it. Third, it is none of your business to be telling me who I should and should not be interviewing. It is my show. It is my credibility on the line. It is, my judgment if I want to go and interview this person or not. It is not your responsibility to tell me anything different. If you don't want to listen to the interview whenever eventually it comes out, you don't have to listen to the interview. You don't have to share it. You don't have to tell me anything. You can, keep it scrolling. And, next time, if I do have someone that you like, by all means, go and listen to it. That's the beauty of making decisions for yourself rather than trying to make a decision for the person that puts in the hard work every single time when it comes to their own um podcast show, their own the thing that they love. I don't think it was right for everyone to come into the comments, especially somebody said that this is what, like, what a dumb bitch would look like. That was one of the comments. Other comments were like, trying to have me ask him about the allegations and ask him about like the rape and stuff. And I'm like, no, again, no, that's not the point of the interview. The point of the interview was that he has an upcoming match with Brandon Lambert, who is 0-1-0, so he has a loss coming in, while Jack over here has a clean slate coming in. So my job is to hype up this match for you guys to go watch a bare knuckle fighting match. My job is not to ask him about his personal life. If you know anything about my podcast and the way that I do things, I do not ask any one of these wrestlers about their personal life. If they want to share the personal life with me, by all means they can, but it doesn't mean I'm going to give you guys the 411 or the 311 on like these guys' personal lives. Here on the Square Circle podcast, I keep it all kayfabe. I do not tell people anything personal, these wrestlers, because they don't really need to know that. What you need to know is that they are a wrestler. It's kayfabe, and that's it. I just don't think it was fair for people to come into that, even though you guys made the engagement better and passed it around and shared it around and let people know that I was doing this, which unfortunately fell through. But then again, that just shows the power of retweets, anger, people that just want to say shit. And it's like, are you really supporting podcasters? Are you really supporting another voice in the space? Are you really supporting, people rather than just attacking them because you want to, I don't know, get rid of them for doing something that they love and something that they want to try, being interviews? And then again, this is how I know all those people that were talking trash about me on that one, and then also the other tweet. They basically do not listen to the podcast. They don't, talk to me directly to be like, hey, let me get your thoughts on this. Let me get your thoughts on that. Or they don't see the amount of help that I do behind the scenes and it's getting noticed, or, anything like that. It's like, or even buy my merch, at least, right? If you have all that negative energy to spend, then you have the same amount of energy to buy my merch, basically retweet my podcast episodes, retweet my Twitch when I go live, spend that negative energy doing something positive rather than trying to tell me, why are you so excited about interviewing a rapist? Why are you so excited about interviewing, Jack and all this kind of shit? Like, all this stuff, right? Somebody just wants to go and attack negatively when they can't really tell you why they're angry or anything like that. So that sort of like bothered me, of like the hate that I got on the AEW tweet floated over onto this graphic. And I'm here like, well, you were probably there, because even though it fell through, I was still trying to entertain the people that I had. And I really love everyone that stopped by, and I kept apologizing to them. And that was my highest segment, even though it fell through. But yes, I will say this though, in the future, I will be able to try, well, I'll try to be able to, I should say, I'll try to be able to get a interview with Jack Claffey, whether you guys like it or not. Because I do not think that it is your duty to tell somebody who's built the Square Circle podcast up from nothing, and made it into something that I love, you guys don't get to tell me who I get to interview or not. I'm just letting you know that right now. Even though that might work against me, but I've never been the type to follow the crowd. I've always been the type to go on my own path and make my own way and, walk to the beat of my own drums. I've never been like, hey, let me go follow this person, this trend, just so that way I can, get further ahead in my career. I wish I could do that, but inside me, it's like I want to do it my own way. And I pick and choose who I want to interview. Everyone is going to have a past. Everyone is going to have skeletons in their closet. Everyone is going to have some type of, I don't want to say the word demons, but they're going to have some type of backstory where it doesn't sound good. Does that mean that, we shun them? No, because if I'm not going to be friends, if we're not going to be super friends, right? Then there's really no point. If I'm just there to interview the person and bad stuff comes out afterwards, that's not my fault. I don't have the ability to do background checks. And there's no need to do background checks if it's just an interview when you're doing it in kayfabe. Which, by the way, guys, heads up, ads are going to start in 2 minutes. The ads help keep the channel going when subs and Twitch primes are not sent my way, just so you know. Not trying to pressure anybody, but that's just how this works. I am still grateful for you guys here and grateful for you guys listening in on this. I just wanted to address that I thought it was really, really something that people would come into a tweet and be like, you shouldn't interview this person. You should interview more women. And it's like, well, have you looked at my catalog? I don't really interview people, This one would have been an easy one, a nice one to get myself, in there and try it out. But I'm not just going to interview just anybody, if I don't really know too much about the person, I don't do that, because then I might make a fool out of myself. And that's the last thing that I want to do, is make a fool out of myself. If I know a lot about a wrestler, then yeah, it'll be easier. There's a lot of things I could talk about. There's a lot of stuff I can talk about. There was going to be some cool things that I would have talked about with Jack on this. But, it's just the idea of wrestling Twitter fans who, especially men, because they all had men profile pictures, who want to come into a tweet and try to be I don't know, a white knight or something, or I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but sort of like a white knight, to be like, hey, you can't do this. Hey, did you remember that he's a rapist? Hey, did you not know about, his allegations? Why are you gonna do this? And then the thing of calling me a dumb bitch and stuff, that doesn't bother me because I have the mindset of, that's not going to be the last time I'm ever called a bitch. And that's not going to be the first. So that really doesn't bother me, because nobody really knows who I am except for my circle. And that's about it. Everyone on the internet acts tough until, they're right in front of the person and then they don't say shit. But again, I don't think it's right for people to come onto someone's tweet and be like, hey, you shouldn't do this, but you should do that. This is my podcast show. This is my area to escape and my expertise to let you know the world of professional wrestling and the business sense of things, and stuff like that. And, I get to do what I want to do. That is what I want to do. What I want to do is just interview people slowly and stuff. And if you don't like it, that's totally fine. Like I said, you can keep it scrolling because most likely you're not buying my merch. Most likely you are not supporting me by listening to my podcast, whether that's right now live on Twitch or on VOD when it comes out on anchor.fm/Squared Circle Podcast, YouTube, and also Spotify. So, I just don't understand. A lot of people tend to waste their energy being negative. And if you have time to be negative, then you have time to support. Remember that. If you have time to be negative, you have time to support. But yeah, I wanted to just get get this off my chest. Cause this one really like bothered me. The other ones, some other stuff bothered me too, but this one here like really, really bothered me. I will keep you guys up to date on, when this interview is going to be happening soon. Again, I emailed the camp. I haven't heard anything back. I really hope everything's okay. I do know that when I was trying to do this interview, he was over in the UK training. He will be out here in Florida, because that's where the match takes place. That takes place in Florida. So basically like hopefully we could get an interview in. If not, I'll probably try like after the match. So that way, like, I can, interview him about the match afterwards. It was going to be a very fun, nice little interview and stuff. But yeah, that is what I just wanted to get off my chest about. Let's move on. Before we move on to my tweet, my wonderful, wonderful tweet, because you guys love my tweet. Okay. Hey, welcome back from the ads. Again, guys, if you do not want to see any ads, the easiest thing for you to do is to send over a Twitch Prime or gift the community some subs. The next ad doesn't start in the next 30 minutes. So just letting you guys know. Seriously, I am going to be the best streamer there is because... Okay, there we go. I'm going to be the best streamer there is because I'm going to let you know when these ads play. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so before... Okay, so before I continue, I need water because I'm technically still getting better, so I'm gonna need some water. So give me a second, guys. All right. So this meme, right? Anytime that AEW has a big announcement, even though some of it is not really freaking huge or anything, every time AEW has an announcement, there's always some type of stupid ass meme that follows everywhere. And it's memes like this that put things into bad context, bad light, And that's sometimes because people go into the areas on Twitter where everybody is yelling at each other through emotion rather than yelling at each other with facts, mixed in with like a little bit of opinions and stuff like that, and having somewhat intelligent conversations, even though I'm asking for a lot. I am asking for a lot when it comes to wanting intelligent conversations. But earlier today proved that some people can have intelligent conversations. But when we get to my tweet, no one is really intelligent. No one at all. Everyone went on their fucking feels because they don't want their, nice little bubble of, joy popped. And I get that. I really do. But sometimes you have to be realistic. If you don't know how New Japan Pro Wrestling structures their show, structures their titles, because like New Japan has a lot of respect for the sport of professional wrestling. The Japanese fans are not like American fans, and I feel like no one listens to this podcast, especially the ones that like to run their mouth and think that they know. They like to listen to Uncle Dave, they like to listen to Brian Alvarez, they like to listen to all the idiots out there, which are predominantly male. And I think that sometimes they have to listen to, some females that talk about wrestling, like myself, which, let me not get ahead of myself, because we are also gonna try to talk about Alfred's tweet also, because I tend to agree with what he said. But, just looking at this, that whenever there's a big announcement, big, with air quotes, everyone gets excited for it. And it's like, I don't think any of the announcements that Tony Khan delivered can say that did very well, including like all the debut signings. Like, no, it feels like we're going at 100 miles per hour with no sleep, barely any breathing room, and nothing really connects, nothing really like helps out. It seems like, I can't tell you what was like a good connection and stuff like that. But let's just take a look at this meme here, right? Which I called it the AEW meme, because I don't really like calling people out on this at all. But you know what? Never mind. It's not even that. It's not even that serious. It's just one of those things of like, just because you enjoy something, right, doesn't mean that you can't criticize it constructively to have the thing that you love improve. I always say that my biggest thing now is to make sure that wrestling is left better than it was yesterday. And the only reason why, like, I get passionate about defending certain things in professional wrestling is because we created a breeding ground for assholes. We created a breeding ground for bullying. We created a breeding ground for, if you do not have the same mindset like I do, then, you're not part of this clique. You're not going to sit here at the table with us. If you think differently, then, that's it. You're done. You're going to have to find somewhere else, which is very sad. And the only reason why that has been created is because the reason why that has been created is because of Tony Khan and his antics on social media. And it's like, dude, what? Like, why do you have to create this environment, where, like, perfect example. He called everybody bots. but people just laughed it off. The AEW fans laughed it off and whatnot, but there are real people behind those accounts. And it's like, if you interact with them, there are actual like real people. To next, where, you know, he's saying, thank you guys, make sure you watch Rampage and all this kind of stuff. So that's like hitting you guys with their bots, and you guys are horrible. Plus, please watch my show because I need the ratings. You know, so this meme basically says, okay, I'm gonna, yo, Greg, what's up? How's it going, man? All right, so this meme says, okay, I gotta get that thing out of there. Like, I need to read the top part. I'm using my photo thing here to see it. The top part says, it's not a big announcement and won't help grow your audience. And then, you know, the person who's being ignored, quit having fun. I tend to believe that I've said it many times on my podcast show that the AEW crowd has given me the cold shoulder. Oh, man. Well, I wish you a better day too. Thanks for joining the stream. It's been a while. To quickly get you updated, I've been sick for the past couple of days, so I have not been able to stream or do anything. It's been very fucking terrible for me, but I decided to come on to talk about everything that happened within the past 4 days while I was not paying attention to social media, and everybody was just, you know, either attacking me, saying some horrible shit to me, and I'm just addressing it. So, you know, this is just gonna be one of those episodes where I address all the fucking stupid hate, because I don't deal with that shit. If I'm not really showing you hate, you don't have to show me hate or anything like that. So this meme, right? I've said it before that the AEW fans have definitely gave me the cold shoulder, and yeah, it's kind of is true anyway. Just because, like I said, sometimes you don't want that bubble to burst, and that's totally okay. But you can constructively criticize the thing that you love. You know, the only reason why I've been so hard on AEW is because I want them to succeed, but at the rate that they're going to just have, you know, awesome announcement after announcement after announcement after announcement, it loses its lackluster. My God, no, it loses its like hype to it. It's, you know, you make an announcement when you have something planned. Most of the shit that AEW does is not planned. The whole Owen Hart tournament is not planned, and I'm just here like, oh my God. At this point, like, if I were to tweet out my exact phrase of, at this point, it just feels like they slapped on Owen Hart's name onto this tournament just to get some recognition, because it makes no sense for the matchups that we have. I understand that Dax, you know, loves Owen, loves Brett, loves the Hart Foundation and all that. And on Wednesday, we're going to get Dax versus Cash. You know, so he's the only one that has like a story that's like really tied to this Owen Hart Cup, while everyone else was just random fucking matches and easy squash matches. Like, you know, it makes no fucking sense. Like, I really do think that the Owen Hart name is just, you know, attached to it for, you know, the recognition, the views, and just the buzz about it. Like, if he really thought about it, he would have had all of the brackets lined up. We could have talked about it. We could have, like, you know, I could have did some stories and stuff like that, the same way that I did with the New Japan Cup of, like, you know, why Tama needed to win and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, like, you know, I just think now it's just a bunch of like, let's just throw shit to the wall and see what sticks. But yeah, Greg, I appreciate that. I do feel I do feel better. My energy is getting there though. The other thing too is that, as you can see in this meme, Obari stands up straight with like a straight ass posture where you know that you're not supposed to fuck with him, while Tony Khan, like, tends to scrunch down and not meet him at eye level. And that's a very bad posture and bad body language. That's not the type of body language you want in the corporate world. And this is how you know Tony Khan is not a leader. This is how you know Tony Khan never worked a corporate job in his life, because they first tell you that like confidence is everything, first impressions are everything, and the way that you look, the way that you walk, the way that you carry yourself doesn't hold as a like real respectable person, I would definitely, be more respectful and sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Because we've all like worked in retail at one point or another, or we worked like, a corporate job or something like that. Like, that if you're standing next to Obari, you're getting like a leadership type of figure. You're like, you're like, okay, in your head that this is boss and employee. When it comes to Tony Khan, it's like, it's friend and friend. Like, no, you're supposed to have that same body language that Obari has in order to be taken serious. Like, no one takes you serious if you're going to be hunching down and not meeting the guy at eye level. Like, man, body language 101, like, you learn this when you're on the job force. But again, Tony Khan is the only one here that got the privilege to skip working a 9-to-5 job, because this guy never worked a 9-to-5 job. Imagine if like Tony Khan and Vince met. Like, Tony Khan would definitely be like hunching down towards Vince. Like, as a businessman, even though I really don't like business, I don't like business suits, I don't like corporate like that, but I understand the culture and the way that you approach somebody is how somebody like, how somebody like, first impressions are everything. That's what I'm trying to say. I can't find the right words at the moment, but like, body language is everything. But the AEW fans don't want to. There we go. Jersey Devil, what's up? Professional decorum. Yes. Thank you. And Greg, I'll go back up to read your stuff in a second. But yeah, like, professional decorum is everything. Especially like in business and wrestling and stuff like that. Like, Tony Khan doesn't have that. And then you can definitely see that translates to like some of the AEW fans that get on you and stuff like that. Okay, so Greg says, I agree. Poor planning, poor strategy, poor storylines. I don't feel closely invested in much that AEW is doing right now. I feel that there's good matches, but it's more than just wrestling matches. The story says something to me. Greg, all right. My excitement is coming up too, and I'm just like, oh my God. You and I are on the same page. I agree 100%. You know me. I like stories with everything, so I can like tell you guys why you should be invested, what you should look out for. If you have to go back in history, I'll do the research and be like, hey, make sure you go back to this date and time and be like, all right, this is why this did this, stuff like that. Greg follows it up with, I really wasn't pleased when they brought New Japan Pro Wrestling president out and he never had the chance to speak on the microphone last week. Yeah, I know, right? But like this is what Tony Khan does. You could think of it like a child when they're like, "Hey guys, let me introduce you to my new toy, and this is how it is." Like that introduction. I totally get it. Yeah, I totally get it, man. But yeah, so like I saw this meme, you know, fuck it. I'm gonna put them over, even though, like, I basically retweeted this and said some shit. But I didn't really say anything bad. Because everyone thinks that I am so against AEW, and that's not the case. No one takes the time to actually listen to me talk about AEW and hear me say multiple times I wanted to succeed. However, these are all the things they're doing wrong. So, if you don't know, Kyle, not from Smack Raw Pod, but there's another Kyle out there. Totally forgot like his last name. We're gonna say Kyle from Canada because that's the last thing I remember where he's from. Has a podcast with another group of people called Elite POV, which is basically all AEW stuff, and they praise AEW. They talk about AEW, and if that is your thing, if you want to listen to praise AEW praise and, talking about the shows and stuff like that, go Greg, hold on. Go and support Kyle and his people with Elite POV. I just didn't like the fact that he had put this up and he agreed with it. And then I came in and I just said as a general comment, because I didn't want him to think that it was an attack on him, because I said whenever there is an announcement and there's negativity that follows that announcement, not every single negativity is about not having fun. It's about making sure that the person has a plan, making sure that, this is gonna feel right. You have all the guys, locked in. Like, it shouldn't have been announced so early, and it definitely should not have been in June. I think that the AEW New Japan pay-per-view should have been either in August or towards the holiday season, where they would have made a lot more money for all the guys involved. And then the marketing would have took off. They would have had like us podcasters that would have talked about it. We would have gave it buzz, but it's right after. Excuse me. It's right after Double or Nothing, and that's overshadowing Double or Nothing. And this is like the first time where AEW hasn't really revealed the full card for Double or Nothing. And excuse me while the damn phone rings. All right, so like I was saying, not every negative comment, depending on where you look and what circles you hang out in, not every single negative comment is about not having fun. It's about having a plan. It's about, making sure you're executing it right, because, you still have to take into account that if you want to get some of the New Japan guys over, you have to start working on those visas. And even if you give, I don't know, the Japanese government like hush money to make those visas go faster, you still have to make sure that they're able to get over here and shit like that. Like, you don't reveal your hand unless, like, you got like maybe 80% locked in. The 20% can be like, yo, New Japan Strong, we need you to step in or something like that. Like, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this meme, like, I really hate when this meme travels around, because it just seems like AEW fans can't really fucking take constructive criticism. Like, I learned a while ago that it's okay to criticize stuff that you love. And now for Greg's comment, here's a blood pressure comment for you. That CM Punk match with Dustin Rhodes is awful. See, I didn't watch it because I knew it was gonna be horrible. Man, I bet it was, man. That really doesn't make my blood pressure go. It's just that, by the way, while we're talking about CM Punk, we all want CM Punk versus Kenta. And you notice how CM Punk has been the most quiet in this whole AEW versus like New Japan, AEW X New Japan pay-per-view. I don't understand why people on Twitter are giving CM Punk the time of day when this motherfucker keeps dodging people. He speaks out his ass when he knows he can and he can get away with it, but he has been super quiet about this pay-per-view. You know, like super fucking quiet. And I don't understand why people are still fans of why, you know, they're still fans of him. By the way, guys, you guys got 3 minutes until another ad starts. So if you guys want and you do not want your experience interrupted, please send over some Twitch Primes or give some subs to the community. If not, ads will start, and that's totally okay. I'm just reminding you guys because I am the sweetest sweetest podcaster you know and streamer you know. I'm just letting you guys know because I know you guys are enjoying my hot takes because you guys love my hot takes. Let me go back up here and like read some of this stuff. Let me answer Jersey Devil's question. Oh, not yeah. August or beyond. SummerSlam is the end of July. All Out is September 4th. Full Gear is in November, and Wrestle Kingdom's in January. Would it fit better in October or December? Yes, definitely, man. You know, October, yeah, definitely. At least with October, you know what I would do? I would so try to bring in Evil just so I could get a Halloween type of theme going on. And for one night only, just get Bray Wyatt and have Evil versus Bray Wyatt in the States in October. Like, man, this is why sometimes they, you know, I really don't want to make this a gender thing, but like sometimes they might need a woman on to be like, yo, let's plan this whole shit out. Like, give me a whiteboard, give me some markers, and I'll plan this whole thing out to make like the best fucking pay-per-view ever. That makes sense, you know? But yeah, like August will work. You know, October, December. Let me see. Is there anything else that's not taken up? Like December would be nice, you know? It would be similar. Like, I wouldn't mind if December became like, you know, that's why I miss Ring of Honor with the whole Dishonor in December. Totally forgot what the fuck it is. It's been so long. But yeah, October will work, December will work, August will work. It's just like he gotta realize that there's like Best of the Super Juniors happening, there's the G1 happening, and then like, you know, you don't want to like overcrowd, overpack things. You want something to breathe so you can remember it and you can like live in the moment, because wrestling is all about making moments, but AEW fans don't understand what that is anymore. I don't think they do. Greg said, but here's the thing, CM Punk is supposed to be working his way up to the title picture. They keep mentioning it during every match he has, but for some reason he struggles with every single match. He struggled beating Dustin Rhodes. Greg, I never asked you this question, but you know, if you are a Marvel fan, if you ever saw, well, it's not really like a question, but I'm just saying, if you ever saw Old Man Logan, CM Punk is doing the Old Man Logan fucking storyline. I figured that out in the beginning. Jersey Devil says AEW fans can't take any criticism, let alone constructive criticism. Yes, I'm here all the time trying to be constructive with the criticism. I'm not here just saying AEW sucks. No, AEW has problems, AEW has flaws, and this is how we fix it. The same way that I would do with New Japan Pro Wrestling. If I knew, you know, how to fix certain things, you know, I would. And then, yeah, AEW is all about instant gratification, and that's not cool. Okay. What's the next one that I'm doing? Um, you know what? We're gonna talk about. I'm sorry, Greg, but like, that's exactly what he's fucking doing. That's exactly what Punk is doing. And he's also running away from people. And I don't understand how fans still want this guy to wrestle Okada, wants to wrestle Naito, wants to wrestle Kenta. Like, bro, he's dodging fucking everybody. Osprey, he's dodging. He's been so fucking quiet. And it's like this is supposed to be a really big deal, a really big show in your hometown. In your hometown, and you're gonna get overshadowed by Jay White. And then we're gonna hear that we're gonna hear that Jay White single-handedly sold out Madison Square Garden, and that Jay White single-handedly sold out the United Center, because I almost forgot where the fuck it is. Um, yeah, so we're definitely gonna get. It's so sad that Jay White is going to overshadow CM Punk, and that's gonna be a very glorious day. Oh, awesome! Yeah, I don't know why I said awesome. Thank you, Jersey Devil. Thank you for that. Thank you. So yeah. I'm just waiting for the ads to go away, so that way everyone else who does not have a subscription can hear me talk about this next topic. And then we got one more topic, and I think that's it, and I get to cover all my haters and shit like that, because it's okay if they like hate on you, but if you hate on them, you go straight to like Twitter jail and shit. And by the way, you notice how we're not talking about Hangman anymore, and Hangman is supposed to be our AEW champion, but yet then we barely fucking talk about the dude. All right, guys. I really want to thank you guys for continuing to stay here with me as like ads roll in and stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, the easiest way to get rid of ads, and you could tell your friends the next time that I go live, the easiest way is to send me a Twitch Prime or gift subs to the community, so that way your experience does not get interrupted with my my hot takes, because you guys love my hot takes. Yeah, see, like Hangman is very fucking forgettable. And he's our AEW champion. It's like, bro, you could have all the amazing matches in the world, all the 60-minute matches, and all of the hardcore matches, Texas death matches. But if you're not making any type of noise, doing anything else as a champion, then yeah, I'm not gonna remember. Anyway, let's talk about this. I know that Alfred is not, the best wholesome person there is on Twitter. He does tend to rile up a lot of people, but I actually like agreed, and I understood what this tweet was. I understood what he was trying to do with the tweet, and he actually like did it perfectly fine, right? So hear me out. And by the way, Alfred is not really liked by a lot of people, especially people in the same bubble that don't tend to want to like think for themselves or even ask him like, hey, what's this really about? So Alfred says, as expected, the AEW versus New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door announcement is news that will excite a lot of men who already watched the product, myself, himself included, him included. AEW serving its audience with an announcement like this, but not growing it. And then he goes and does videos, and he explains his point. And then he further talks about the audience and the female viewers who watches New Japan Pro Wrestling. And, he's not wrong. Um, Me as a female who loves New Japan Pro Wrestling, who has been dubbed the professor of New Japan Pro Wrestling, he's not wrong. I will tell you from experience. Give me 1 second here. I gotta look up something in order to put this into perspective for you guys. Which I know the whole entire Twitter universe is not really looking my way at the moment, but okay. Uh, Give me 1 second. Okay, am I back? All right. Just had to check on some stuff. I can tell you from experience, right? Cuz you know, let's face it. I've been watching wrestling ever since I was 7. I managed to like accomplish my dream and all that, but like no matter where I go, it's always been male dominated, and that's not something that, you know, I care about. I really don't care about it. I meet the most coolest dudes in the wrestling space, unless like, you know, they're assholes and they're idiots, and I just tend to stay away from them. But I meet the most coolest people who are down to earth and who are willing to help you. But I really don't care about the gender. I really don't. I've already accepted that it's a male dominated sport. There's nothing that I could really do except contribute my voice to it, and you know, just continue to do what I do, especially in the background, and just hype up everyone else. Like I have no problem with that, because I love doing something that everyone else loves doing. Right? So anyway, but for Anchor gives me the breakdown for, you know, who listens to my podcast episodes. So for male, I have a whopping 89% of male listening to my podcast episodes. And for a good amount, it's all New Japan episodes. Even when I had the AEW episodes, it was male oriented. When I talked about New Japan, when I talked about Impact Wrestling, it's all male oriented. Only recently has there been an increase of female listeners at 7%, followed by not specified, 3%, and 1% for non-binary. So those are my numbers when it comes to who listens to my podcast episodes in relation to Alfred's tweet. So Alfred is not wrong in what he says, right? So he says this, everyone gets upset at him, everyone retweets it and like says some shit because they're all going on emotion and feeling, and they're not trying to challenge Alfred. Me, I'm not challenging Alfred because I fucking agree. That it really does feel like when the announcement was made, that it just feels like it was made for Tony Khan and for the handful of people that are Tony Khan's personality type, where they're going to enjoy this rather than trying to think about the bigger picture of like, all right, how can we get this to the masses? How can we make sure that everyone's included? Because you want New Japan Pro Wrestling to have more subscriptions, right? The more subscriptions that they have on New Japan World is a win for New Japan Pro Wrestling plus AEW, because AEW now has their library on New Japan World, which I still fucking hate because, you know, it makes no sense. Instead of Tony Khan making his own subscription service or some type of service where people can watch the back catalog of AEW, He rather piggyback off of people who work the hardest, and that's what he does. And I hate that. I don't like the fact that he piggybacks off of everybody else and not take responsibility and make something new like how he's supposed to do it. So as I tell you my numbers for this, Alfred is totally right when he says that the women population for, watching New Japan Pro Wrestling in America is really low. Even though I think I might get hate for that, even though there are a lot of women who retweeted that and was like, I'm a woman, I'm a female, I watch New Japan Pro Wrestling, this and that. And it's like, that's great that you watch it. But I don't really know where to go from this. Cause I do know that part of me feels wrong to sort of say that, like, I don't know. Now I'm just thinking. It's the idea that, from my experience, I tweet about New Japan Pro Wrestling. Every time there is a show that's on, I tweet about New Japan Pro Wrestling the same way that people tweet about AEW Dark Evolution, Dynamite, Rampage. I tweet it as if, like, giving commentary. So, at least they know that me, Marie Shadows, watches New Japan Pro Wrestling. Here's my proof. There's a lot of women that I saw when they retweeted this. I was like, I don't know you, I don't know you, I don't know you. And if all the women that retweeted it could put that same energy into supporting a New Japan Pro Wrestling podcast like myself, my numbers would be way much higher. I think I'm trying to get to the point of, I've had good experiences with men that will tell me, hey, I listened to your podcast because of the New Japan Pro Wrestling, episodes. I don't really get that much with females. I really don't. I'm surprised that I have 7% for a female audience. I'm surprised for that. But other than that, like, I don't get that same reaction. And this is what Alfred was trying to say, is that, like, this is already for the men who already want it, the fans who already want it. And the fans kept talking about it ever since, like, New Japan started to come onto the scene and stuff. And this is where it's bad to give into people who want something so much. It's because it makes them selfish. In the end, it's not going to be really good, because then their expectation is way too high. But Tony Khan is such a people pleaser that Tony Khan is such a people pleaser that this is what happens. Everyone who wants what they want, they're going to get what they want. But I will say that his tweet really did help the algorithm in this whole AEW and New Japan thing, because then it shows AEW that there are women out there that, that love New Japan anyway, and, don't forget about them. So he did a very good service of uplifting those voices, even though they all yelled at him. Sometimes you gotta, like, look and listen a little bit deeper on certain situations rather than just, yelling at them. But yeah, there was this that I wanted to talk about. I might not have gone too in depth into it, but that's just the, like, surface level of it. It's not growing because, it's still sticking to that male audience rather than thinking about the overall picture. And yes, Ravage, AEW has no forbidden door when his door is open to everyone. But yeah, I think there was one big point that I wanted to make that I totally forgot what it was. Oh, Also, I was thinking about this too, is that the reason why I do not like this whole partnership thing with AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling is because of the automatic treatment that New Japan Pro wrestlers get as soon as they go onto AEW programming. There has to be a balance in partnerships no matter what, where like, there's just a balance between everything. The way that he treats New Japan wrestlers is already the mindset that like AEW has to win no matter what. Even if he's gonna deny that, like you can tell that, most likely in this Forbidden Door pay-per-view, AEW is gonna go over. Like, now we're gonna come to the last tweet. Wrong thing. The last tweet to talk about, and then that will be it. Which is this, and I got a lot of hate for this, so much so that the person who runs Wrestle Purists said that he hates me. And I was like, yo, hate is a strong word when you don't know the person, when you don't want to get to know the person, when you don't want to talk with the person. And I'm like, dude, I don't even know who you are anyway. Until I had to go dig and look at, who this person is. But he eventually deleted it. My favorite comment in that thread about hating me is that somebody said that somebody called Tama my boss. And I thought that was really, really funny. That, someone said that, isn't that like her boss? I just want to say, Twitter, thank you for informing me that somehow Tama Tonga is my boss. Maybe one day in the future, he ends up being my boss, which would be fucking fantastic. But I'll just cherish that amazing comment that Tom is my boss. Greg says, not sure why New Japan would sign up for this. It does very little to help them. The only reason why New Japan signed up for this is because Obari is in the business of making dream matches. Obari is the new president of New Japan Pro Wrestling. The other one resigned, so he's no longer there. So Obari has this vision of creating dream matches because that's what he grew up in. That's what he fell in love with. That's why we got New Japan X Noah. Even though that really didn't do too well, and judging from that, we might have like a repeat for the AEW and New Japan thing. So yeah, that's the only reason why New Japan did this. Is because he's in the business of making dream matches, and Tony Khan is all about making sure that his guys go over. But like I said, this is the last thing I'm going to talk about, and then that's it for me. But let's talk about this, because this got me so much hate. See, the New Japan X Noah thing happened right after Wrestle Kingdom. So it was part of Wrestle Kingdom. So it was in January, because Wrestle Kingdom's in January. So Wrestle Kingdom happened night 1, night 2, and like night 3 was basically New Japan X Noah. You could see it if you have the New Japan World subscription. It was advertised, but not like advertised to the American fans in a way. You have to just pay attention. Like I said, it was an okay pay-per-view. I didn't really review it because the guys they have in Noah, I don't really know too much, and I don't really want to like review something that I don't know too much knowledge about. All right, so let's break down my tweet here, right? Because people fucking hated this shit. AEW fans love the no-build 16-match formulas. which is true. You have AEW Dark, Dark Revelation, and that's about it. Dark was very good in the beginning in 2019, where I enjoyed what Dark was doing. However, as the weeks went on, and I guess for the sake of the phrase, years went on, they started putting like 16 matches, 20 matches, and I'm like, yo, I can't sit through all this, review it. And I used to review Dark on like a consistent basis, and stuff like that. But I couldn't do it anymore. And I'm like, yo, if you want the 16 match build up, well, actually no build up, just go to your local indies. Like, you can watch 16 matches with like no build up. Maybe in that whole entire card, you have like 2 matches that have like stories in it. And people get upset at me for pointing out the fucking obvious. It's like, no, get up, go out, go support your local indies, and basically like, go support them and get, I can't say desensitized, I don't know. And come back and like actually want to watch a show for television. They'll praise AEW x New Japan and not think. So yeah, everybody will praise it, and exactly. Greg gets it. It's true. TV time should equal stories and matches, not just no build cards. Because when you're on national television, ladies and gentlemen, you need to keep the audience there. I said this so many times. Nobody fucking wants to listen to me. Where if this was like HBO, imagine if like the hottest new show came out and they introduce you to the main character, and week 1 you get introduced to the main character, week 2 the main character is there, but week 3, 4, 5, and 6 the main character disappears. And then let's say week 9 the main character shows up. How would you feel? You have to think of professional wrestling on national television, yes, as a soap opera. If you are so anti-WWE because of like what WWE's been doing, then, either take a break from wrestling, go find a new hobby or something. If you're not willing to try to understand a different perspective as to why being on national television, you need that combination of stories and matches, and like backstage segments and a whole balance. It can't just be match after match after match. They could get away with it on YouTube because no one really watches YouTube like that. No one is going to go back on YouTube to watch the DVR version of like Dark episode, I don't know, like 56 or whatever, like to just, prove the point and stuff like that. Again, if I'm off base with any of this stuff, like please let me know in the chat. This Twitch channel and this podcast is, about talking these things out rather than like, yelling at people because, you want to get into your feelings because someone is bursting that bubble of you having fun. Again, it's not about you not having fun. It's about you, being realistic, you understanding the business side of things rather than thinking that. Let's go on with this tweet. Number 1, it's going to be rushed. It's going to be in June, right after Double or Nothing. We're in New Japan Pro Wrestling right now. We are heading to May 1st. May 1st is Dantaku. Right now, we just finished the Golden Fight series. I don't think we have anything else until May 1st. So yeah, I think today was the end of Golden Fight series. May 1st is Dantaku. Dantaku is another important, I guess, mini pay-per-view for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And this is where like most of the titles are going to be on the line. After this, we move on to Best of the Super Juniors. And then in July, we have the G1. Heading back to America, we have Double or Nothing, which is in May, and then all of a sudden we have the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, which is in June. That is such a clusterfuck where it's not breathable. It's not breathable at all. you know, it would have been nice if the pay-per-view was a little bit, closer to like the end of the summer and maybe towards, October or December, something where we can all cherish in the moment and live in the moment. But of course, selfishness just happens and it's like, bam, we're going to give it to you guys right here rather than thinking things through. Because again, like I said earlier, you got to make sure that the visas all work. You got to make sure that you're able to get Okada over here, Naito over here, maybe Hiromu over here. No one's asking for Tiger Mask. No one's asking for Master Wado. No one's asking for Taguchi. No one's asking for, Hanma. No one's asking for Makabe. Let's see. Who else no one's asking for? No one's asking for Yoshihashi and Goto. But everyone wants Okada, Tanahashi, Ishii, Naito. They want like the main stars. But like, if you want to get New Japan, you get the main stars. But then you also add in like Yoshihashi and Goto, which not many people remember. That's why I don't like the fantasy booking. Oh, and by the way, I read a thread that I totally disagree with. So apparently, Uncle Dave was talking about how like Daniel Bryan could like face Okada. Like, I don't know what the fucking story was. But then people were like, they can see Daniel Bryan taking the belt off of Okada, taking the IWGP belt off of Okada during this pay-per-view. First of all, this is how I know they are not New Japan fans. This is how I know they don't know the business side of New Japan and they don't know nothing about New Japan. That IWGP belt, I'm sorry, I should say championship, not belt. I need the Miz. I need that call out for that the Miz did to Cody Rhodes whenever I do that shit. The IWGP World Heavyweight Championship title will not leave Japan because that is their moneymaker. That is the thing that sells the tickets over in Japan. If that belt comes over here, that's not a very good look. The only reason why it would ever be on the shoulder of someone else over here in the States is because maybe they have a shutdown and they don't have wrestling for a while, but they still got media, so they got to show it somewhere. It's like the reason why Ospreay had to give up the title belt, even though he had the neck injury, is the same neck injury that Big E has. The moment that Ospreay decided to go home to England, New Japan couldn't have that. So New Japan automatically stripped them because, again, that is their moneymaker over in Japan. And for people that don't understand that, I can tell that they're not New Japan fans and they don't listen to me when I talk about New Japan. And it might sound like I'm angry at them. I'm not angry at them. I'm just disappointed and frustrated that they'll stay in their own bubble rather than asking the experts like myself. Anyway, which this is probably not making me likable anyway, but I'm not here on this earth to be likable. You can like me, you can hate me, whatever, cool. Anyway, it does not make sense to put the IWGP belt on Daniel Bryan and take it off of Okada. Why would that be a thing? If that happens, then this is going to be a very stupid pay-per-view. And that would have been a very wrong decision. And also, I kind of feel that because it's on home turf here, that this is a cop-out for Daniel Bryan to get this thing off his bucket list, rather than Tony Khan shipping him out to the G1 and having Daniel Bryan prove himself in the G1. Could have fucking did that shit. But, they're not doing that. So yeah, if you ever wonder why the title belt will not change hands to have an American hold it over here, it's because that IWGP belt brings in the money over there in Japan. It is different here in America when it comes to our title belts. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just wish that my voice can break through all those people. I really do. I really wish they could break through all those people so that way they can stop having, stop, saying ridiculous things. And yet then I get yelled at for a properly good tweet. All right, so number 2, mainly tag matches, maybe 3 singles. I'm not sure if anyone watched today's episode of New Japan Pro Wrestling, but all of it was tag matches, multi-man matches, and we had the one singles match between Taichi versus Shingo for the King of Pro Wrestling trophy, which I don't care about. I'm going to say it here. The King of Pro Wrestling trophy is the equivalent to the 24/7 title. Just because Okada made it, it has no value. If Yano didn't hold it for the amount that he did, it wouldn't, it'd probably be a serious thing, but I don't take it serious. But yeah, big super shows like this is definitely going to have a lot of multi-man matches, tag matches. And I saw that for Wednesday, they're preparing you guys because they're having a 10-man tag, which has the Young Bucks with Red Dragon taking on fucking young guys, which I'm probably just going to call them that, which makes no sense for them to have it. It's just going to be a squash match. If I was these young guys, I would just be like, yo, I'm not losing to these guys at all. No, makes no sense. But yeah, New Japan Pro Wrestling does a lot of tag matches. However, once we pass the opening matches and we get to this, I don't want to say the second opening match, but after we pass the opening matches, most of those tag matches, each of them have a interwoven story that they all progress in those multi-man matches, and that makes sense. So that's why they have a lot of tag matches. The tag matches and multi-man matches are there to give everyone enough ring time, TV time, New Japan World time, whatever you want to call it. But it gives everybody a chance to have some time in there. However, there needs to be a balance. If this pay-per-view is just going to be a bunch of single matches, then we're going to be here till 1 a.m. Number 3, are you going to remember it years later? That's the thing, because everything is happening all at once. Are you really going to remember it 3 years from now, 5 years from now? Are we still going to be talking about it? Are we still going to be the same way that we talk about Okada versus Kenny Omega? Are we still going to be talking about this the same way as that? You really got to build up super shows like this, especially when you have New Japan, who has a rich history, AEW that's getting a history, are you going to remember it? Which I'm not wrong for asking. Number 4, not building the fan base appropriately. So somebody was like, I don't understand what this means. This means that you introduce the audience, you introduce your AEW audience. And when I say the AEW audience, I mean the one in America. Japan don't really care, in a sense. They care, but it's not here, So the fan base here in AEW, how can I say this? Not building the fan base appropriately. Okay. Every time there is a New Japan star on AEW, they do not get the best treatment as if they were an AEW wrestler and if they are best friends with Tony Khan. And that's already stuck in the mind of AEW, of the AEW fans. And they will put over AEW guys and WWE and ex-WWE guys over New Japan guys, because from the beginning, AEW has told the fans that New Japan doesn't mean shit, while still trying to have this thing of, yeah, New Japan is great, guys. New Japan is awesome. It's a New Japan star. But yet then they're fucking losing. Suzuki, you made Suzuki television champion, but then he was a transitional champion for Samoa Joe when he could have been a bigger champion, held the belt for a little bit longer, and before he went back to Japan, probably could have dropped it. Or take the belt to Japan and promote it over there and be like, yeah, I'm one of AEW Ring of Honor champions. And that would get everybody excited. But no, Suzuki had to drop to it. Let's see. We had Lance Archer versus Hikuleo, the young gun, for the United States Championship title. They could have did a transition there where like Hikuleo could have been a champion, and then that could have played into Hikuleo's story of him still feeling conflicted at the fact that his brothers are out of fucking Bullet Club. You know, it could have played into a lot of factors, but no, we got Lance Archer defeating Hikuleo in a Texas death match for you know, Lance Archer to retain the title at that time. Again, Ishii. Oh my God, Ishii. Hold on. Ishii fought Adam Cole for a qualifier match in the Owen Hart tournament, right? So, in a perfect world, Adam Cole cannot be Ishii. I don't care who says that he can. In a perfect world, in a realistic world, Adam Cole cannot be Ishii. What I do not like is that they are still running the same fucking bits that they do in New Japan Pro Wrestling whenever it comes to Ishii versus Jay White. As much as I love Ishii versus Jay White because they have a very unique chemistry together in the ring, especially when it's a New Japan ring, there's just something special about their chemistry. So Jay White runs down, throws a young boy into the fucking steps. Ishii sees this. Here comes Adam Cole with a fucking low blow. And 1, 2, 3, right? I think that's how it ended. And that's how Adam Cole advances. Well, guess what you fucking did? You shitted on New Japan. The more times that the New Japan wrestlers come over to AEW, the more times they get shitted on, the more times that they get looked over and passed on. That's how you're not building the fan base appropriately, because AEW fans already have it in their head that New Japan is shit if they're not Okada, Tanahashi, Naito, and that's about it. Because no one throws Hiromu in this conversation. No one throws I don't know who else, but if they're not Okada, Tanahashi, or Naito, they are shit. And that's how it's always been built up. And that's because of like who talks about New Japan and how they talk about it. So you're not building the fan base appropriately by shitting on the New Japan wrestlers. And I will protect the New Japan wrestlers as much as I fucking can, because they deserve so much better than the way that they've been portrayed on AEW. And people think that it's a great partnership and everything. And it's like that magician that says, hey, you know, watch this hand while the one that's behind the back is doing all the shady fucking shit. But yeah, that's how you're not growing the fan base appropriately, because no one knows who these New Japan wrestlers are. There's no vignettes. There's no like interviews. There's no like pre-tape sit downs and shit like that. Like, no. And then number 5. What about Double or Nothing? Double or Nothing is getting overshadowed by this pay-per-view, and nobody wants to admit it. Everyone moved on. No one's talking about Double or Nothing. No one really cares about Double or Nothing. No one's asking about, hey, why haven't we built up the card for Double or Nothing? What are we going to do? It's going to be a bunch of random ass matches on Double or Nothing. And Double or Nothing, to me, it should be their WrestleMania. So, like I said, Double or Nothing should be their WrestleMania. And Ravage brings up a good point, saying this is why WWE don't really do business with other companies, because it's always going to be one-sided. It's always going to be egos are colliding. I do believe, though, I believe that Obari has a very good heart. He looks like a very good man, a very honest man. somebody that would tell you like it is, and definitely give you that like business etiquette when need to. And I know that he's doing this because of like dream matches and stuff like that. I trust Obari. I don't trust Tony Khan. I really don't. So this is going to conclude my podcast episode. I only wanted to get on here to just talk about all the hate that I have gotten over the past couple of days while, recovering, which is all good. I just think that, those same people that showed me all that hate would have been here so that they could hear me out and hear me talk about professional wrestling. And the way that I break it down, and, basically, I'm not here to always shit on AEW. I'm not here to always criticize AEW. I'm here to criticize, but I'm also here to be like, here, this is how we can improve AEW. This is how we can fix AEW. But everyone is so into their fucking feels that they want to yell at people and be hateful and not realize that there's a passion that lies within someone's heart, because they know that it is the alternative, but with the shady shit that happens, a lot of people are starting to realize that maybe this isn't it. But the vocal people who are like, no, AEW is everything. It's not. There's other things out there. I can teach you about New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is the first time that I feel like I might have to gatekeep something that I love because of idiots. I'm sorry. Because of people who just say the weirdest things without, asking somebody, hey, do you think this is a good idea? Hey, do you think that, or even ask me the question of like, hey, do you think that they will ever crown, Daniel Bryan as champion for New Japan? And I'll be like, well, if he's on New Japan turf, sure. But if he's on American soil, no. The only reason why the IWGP United States Championship title gets a American holder is because it's the United States Championship title. That's a title that New Japan doesn't really care about. New Japan cares about the IWGP title, their heavyweight title, the IWGP heavyweight title, the never openweight championship titles, and that's it. Because they did away with the fucking IC title. But they don't really care about the US title. So that could go to anybody and anyone. So that really doesn't matter if you want to try to bring that up as an argument. But yeah, nobody really wants to have a conversation. And this is why I do these live streams. Because everyone that gave me hate don't want to come over here and hear it out. Which is all good. You guys get to hear it. It gets to be recorded. Everyone gets to hear it on their favorite platforms and stuff like that. All right, guys, I know I'm usually a lot more fun, but I wanted this to be business and straight to the point. Those are all the stuff I wanted to talk about anyway. I do want to thank everybody for stopping by, especially for the spike in viewers, but they didn't want to stick around, but it's all good, man. All love. So shout out to Ravage, Greg, Vortex, Jersey Devil. Who else was in here? Oh, Aussie Lucian was in here. Ronan was in here. I want to thank you guys so much for stopping by the chatting with me. I'm still recovering. It's all good. I feel way better than the past couple of days. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm probably gonna play us out. I'll do it next time. I won't play us out to Cody. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys listening to me talking about all these haters and stuff like that. It's all good. All right, if you want to find me, you could definitely find me on Twitter at Marie_Shadows to read what I'm doing, see what I'm doing, and know when I go live next. You can also hit that follow button right here on twitch.tv/Marie_shadows. Now that I am affiliate, I do have ads. So what that means is that for you not to have your experience interrupted, by all means, let me get that Twitch Prime or gift some subs to the community to not have that experience interrupted. Head over to www.ko-fi.com/Marie_shadows to help out the channel in any way you can. A small donation is encouraged. And then you can also, let people know where this is at. For all of my audio listeners, this will be on anchor.fm/Square Circle Podcast. You can catch this on youtube.com/Square Circle Podcast. And then Spotify will have the video up. And I'm going to run a set of ads. And ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to an episode of the Square Circle Podcast. I am your host, Marie Shadows, and I'll see you guys on the next one.